those sweet hips. And we are ready to get started. First match of the day that we're casting anyway.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Interesting that we see Defron here, who has been playing the Mei a little bit today. From
Hello,
what we've seen, and that's a Helix rocket right off the bat.
Sinatra, welcome to the match. You are already dead. Meanwhile, Selfless being pushed back. But yeah, like you mentioned, Monty, Defron on that Mei. A little bit of a surprise on offense here.
Yeah, especially because it doesn't give you the best high ground control on point A with the Mei. So
right.
You're basically just trying to push it through by blizzarding the cart as you get deeper and past the car wash on this map. But
Buds with 2 kills on Sinatra already. A little bit of a frustrating start for Selfless, but you know, with Mei, you really have to be landing those right clicks if you're going to be using it on point A here.
Yeah, and they're trying to move the cart right now, but there's no contest for the soldier on the high ground, so Bud's getting a lot of room just to rain down death from above here, and the cart not really moving anywhere as Clockwork just keeping it in place.
Oh, Michael 3D does go down, playing a lot of that Zenyatta today, not being able to make much progress, but you know, Selfless, we've seen them have a lot of individual talent, a really significant amount, but I haven't seen that level of team play, that level of sort of cohesion that you're hoping to see from a top pro team yet. And I'm worried if they don't develop that in the near future that they're kind of going to cap out, you know? You can only get so far with individual mechanics, but see what they can do here.
Well, right now we're going to see
ready.
Some more individual mechanics. Defron actually switching over to the Soldier 76, resetting his ultimate. There will be a while before he has that tack visor. Bud's coming up, and this should be a strong defense here for FNRFG.
You'd think so. Soundberry used for Selfless. Not getting a whole lot of kills with it yet. Sinatra dodging around. Here's that Tracer battle we talked about. No kills, but now Buds comes in with the Nano Visor, looking for a few kills. Some of that getting absorbed. Gets a little bit of damage on the high ground. And Michael 3D coming in with a Transcendence that may have been a bit on the late side. Yeah, everybody falling back for the moment. You know, I gotta say, watching Michael 3D play Zenyatta today, his Transcendence timings have not been stellar. And now we have FNG, I hate their team name, the blue team coming in with their own Transcendence. They're gonna try to hold the payload a little bit more. Self-destruct not picking anything up as Kresnik gets back in the mech again. Right there, Selfless kind of zoned out for a bit. With
the Nano Visor, we saw Bud seed the high ground and Defron have a very good flank up, but he was pushed back immediately by Iman coming through on the Winston. By seeding that high ground, did give a little bit more damage over to Selfless, and now they're getting the catches with the Pulse Bomb right in the corridor.
Yeah, that's right. Sinatra falling it again. Looks like they might be able to, yeah, they do get point A. Okay. Took a little bit of doing, still got 340 left on the clock, so Selfless, plenty of time to push through the hangar phase. Let's go back and watch the replay really quick. Sinatra throwing out the Pulse Bomb. Not getting any kills with it, but hey, it was there. The Pulse Bomb's scary. That's just how it is.
Fortunately for FNRGFE, they didn't have a lot of time to set up on the high ground here because of their late wipe right by the doors to the hangar here at point A. So a little bit of a retake right now, attempting to get those long-range hit scan heroes into position.
All right, sound barrier again. Used to Selfless, trying to push that payload around that corner. If it gets stalled here, sometimes it's hard to get it going again. So you really want to do that. Defron just bull rushing his way in with Soldier 76. And it looks like they will kind of get the progress they're looking for the moment. Yeah, Iman just zoning people out. There goes Buds again. So Selfless, despite kind of a shaky start, they've really brought it together here in the second phase. And you see Hangar go pretty quick sometimes, but looking good at the moment.
Well, FNRGFE never really had a chance to stabilize in the hangar because they put so many resources into that final defense on point A. Doc at the end as the hangar phase went through too. Great sound barrier to minimize the damage done by the Pulse Bomb. That allows them to power through. And ult economy's been looking pretty good for Selfless so far.
Yeah.
Late trance, but otherwise, we see that tack visor coming back up again in conjunction with the self-destruct. Selfless still has the tools to move through here.
Yeah, that Transcendence at the end, just kind of helping secure that push. Maybe not, you know, again, the most necessary use of that ult, but, you know, they get point B. They got some time to move through to take point C, finish off their offensive round. Buds so far uncontested up on the high ground here. You're going to have to do something about him.
Yeah, they have a Nano Visor in weight as well, so they should have a long hold here on the final point of Gibraltar as long as they don't waste their ult economy too early on. They're been
nearly up to 6 right now.
Yeah, they haven't had an itchy trigger finger here, just using that high ground advantage and not over-committing.
Yeah.
As Selfless has to try and get back onto the cart right now, and with only that one support ultimate coming up with Doc, it's going to be a little bit.
Yeah, well, no. Has to get out of there. Still plenty of health to work with, though. And he can go down the payload. Monkey fight! Whoa, the pulse bomb, that's not fair. Doesn't end up getting the kill anyway. Will force a primal rage out as Selfless scattering just a little bit. FNRGFE. Able to kind of zone Selfless off the payload for the moment without having to use a whole lot else to do it. Only going down the Winston ultimate. But Selfless coming back with a big ult push themselves here, so we'll see what they can get done with it.
Yeah, it's been a mind game for both of these teams. Both of them minimally committing only one ult apiece, but here we go.
Yeah, Defran dodging around. Gotta wait for that tac visor. Might have a good opportunity coming in. Meanwhile, Bud seeing what he can do with his. Gets a couple kills. Doing very well, actually. In the end, though, it's a pretty even trade. And Defran pushed back eventually. The Winstons. Solo Winston battle on the point right now. Whose laser gun reigns supreme? The primal rage comes out for Emong. And he's going to try to just keep the respawns for FNRGFE a little bit on the scattered side.
Clockwork cornered right now, but he does manage to escape onto the upper bridge. Does die as he falls back down. Now the respawn's coming back through for FNRGFE.
Whoa, 2 from Enigma. And that's going to be a bit of a problem for Selfless. They try to keep this pushing.
Came back with a respawn there, still with the self-destruct available, so even though they were in a 6 versus 5 situation, able to go ahead and pick that one up. And beyond that, we did see the switch over from Sinatra, from Tracer over to Genji, and I think this is just to make sure that Buds is not going to have free reign on the high ground with that Soldier 76.
I think you're absolutely right, man. I mean, that's a good way to get up there and counteract a little bit more.
Yeah, they need more pressure on that high ground. It is so valuable to have control over that bridge. So when you have the Diva and then you can back it up there with the Genji.
Checking out that self-destruct one more time. Enigma again able to grab 2, just kind of tossing it around the corner in a way Selfless wasn't expecting.
It was either going to buy time or get those kills. So
Transcendence forced out of Michael 3D. He was about to go down there. May still go down in the end. Tac visor coming out for FNRGFE. Meanwhile, Sinatra cutting through the doorway, taking down Bonnie. And that payload's gonna move. What can Bud do to stop this one? Enigma back, but it's dire straits for FNRGFE right now.
Nano boost really wasted there for FNRGFE. A little bit of a miscommunication, a mistiming at the end, and that gave the opportunity here to get the big Dragon Blade from Sinatra.
Yeah. Enigma popped out of the mech now. They really needed him to stay in it on the payload. Sound barrier crucial for FNRGFE. Let's see if they can utilize that to push back Selfless. Not a lot of kills coming in just yet at the moment. Sinatra bouncing around the payload, gets knocked back for a second. Buds does go down. The defenders starting to be a little bit broken up here. Now the Dragon Blade coming in for Selfless again, and they are going to finish. 8.9 seconds left in the clock, but hey, they got it done.
That was such a crucial second Dragon Blade coming up right at the end to help zone them out of the doorway from the spawn. And so Selfless coming back with a little better teamwork overall. And despite FNRGFE starting so strong on that offense, getting the initial picks onto Sinatra, they folded with a big ult advantage towards the end of point A, and they never really recovered that momentum in a satisfactory way. Love the hero changes we saw from Selfless as it went on. Sinatra moving over to that Genji right after just throwing out his pulse bomb, resetting that ult, and then coming back with some strong plays with the Dragon Blade.
Yeah, Defran having a lot more success on the Soldier 76 than he did initially on the May as well. So like you said, good adaptability from Selfless.
Yeah, they as soon as they figured out that FNRGFE was basically 100% playing for that high ground, the hero swaps and the team composition changes that they were making really enabled them to control it themselves and force them onto the low ground and open up some room for them to do the damage.
Well, here we go again. FNRGFE on the offense this time. Selfless taking up the defender's position, and so we'll see what the blue team has in mind. A lot of hero swapping probably going to go on before the match actually begins here.
Yeah. High mobility for Selfless. They do have some ways to control that high ground with the Winston and the Diva to help protect Defran there. And we'll see if FNRGFE, Buds, has been known to play some Widowmaker in the past, so he might look for some initial picks here if he thinks that Selfless is going to be playing pretty far forward. Like a possible quick Sonic Arrow from Bonnie that should give them the information they need to decide whether or not they're going to hold on to that Widow, which they might if they see some people here in the Sonic Arrow right on top of the car wash.
You know, in the early phases of your push on Gibraltar, you can work the Widow in, and like you said, Buds certainly has history on the hero. So he does, sticking with it for the moment. Bonnie on the Hanzo, maybe just throwing out that Sonic arrow, but Zenyatta for the moment. Yeah, there's the Zenyatta. I was going to say, that was about to be pretty shocking.
Yeah, still, you know, there's not a lot of great diving options here if you're Selfless to deal with this Widowmaker. You know, you don't have a Genji. Difficult for Tracer to make it to that high ground.
Oh, and there's a kill on Doc.
That's what's going to happen. There's just no pressure. He can just go after these supports.
Oh, what's up, Doc? Answer is a bullet in the dome.
Bo3 has to be very careful on that high ground, but this strategy working out very well early on, and that's one of those things. Selfless came with a defensive composition that made it very difficult to contest that Widow.
Yeah. The payload just edging for a little bit more. Symmetra throws in the pulse bomb, but no kills from that one. Everybody able to back off, but that payload is moving now.
Sinatra should be switching over to Genji here after chucking out that pulse bomb very early on. We'll see if he's actually going to make a change. And there it is right now. So we'll be switching over to the Genji as expected. Somebody's got to deal with Buds in that back line.
Yep. Enigma so close to that pulse bomb. See if he maybe pick it up. Gonna have it soon. Might want to wait for that recall to come back, but always dangerous to get stuck in the corner with the pulse bomb. The front does take down Clockwork though. So FNRGFE maybe a little bit stalled out here. Yeah, I think Selfless is gonna put together a pretty decent hold now. And Defron actually really close to that tactical visor. He's going to have it for the next defensive fight. So Selfless actually in a pretty decent spot right now to maybe hold this for a little while.
Yeah, they are in a much better position. I will say I'm surprised Selfless after the way that last map ended. That is Clockwork again, too far forward, two crucial deaths apart from his team, and they need to be very careful about that. Defron was playing a little bit more forward than you would expect, especially they should know he has tac visor, and they may expect him to be playing towards the back end of the point instead. A little bit of a surprise there.
Yeah, on board with Buds now. Pops that ultimate. Got a decent view. Ooh, has to watch out for that reflect. That is a little bit scary. All right, payload's starting to move a little bit now as FNRGFE tries to take point A. They've been a little bit stalled out. Buds doing the damage you can on the Widowmaker. The angle's not quite as good at this particular point on the map. Emong jumping down with the defensive Winston. Has that Primal Rage in case he needs to use it. Be good for keeping people off. Transcendence used for Selfless. Well, big ultimate. Both sound barriers coming out. And who's going to come out on top? Buds goes down early to Sinatra. An answering kill comes out for Enigma, though, for FNRGFE. Right now, Selfless all over the payload, and it just doesn't seem like FNRGFE is able to get any sort of purchase on the pushing power. Alliteration.
Oh, very nicely done. Yeah, has to watch out there. Not the most impactful Dragon Blade, but he did clear out the soldier on the high ground, and that is in fact going to be enough. Sometimes just getting that one crucial kill where the uncontested soldier would be causing you significant amounts of problems, particularly since Clockwork now has that tac visor available. But Kresnik there, he's patrolling, looking for an opportunity to zone people off if they try and get in that position again. So all eyes on Clockwork right now. It's up to Sinatra and Kresnik to shut him down.
I mean, with 40 seconds left on the clock, if Clockwork doesn't get a lot done with this ultimate, they're going to have a hard time pushing past point A.
And there's no nano boost here for them either, so he's the ability to deal damage quickly is even harder, but that will certainly help Defran cut down early.
Yeah, and he was about to get his ultimate as well, so that is a big deal. Let's see what Clockwork can get now. A lot of that getting blocked by defensive Matrix, though. Not a very effective tac visor. Does pop D.Va out, but Kresnik gonna go ahead and pop the ultimate. No kills, but behind all of that, the teammates getting the kills, and FNRGFE gonna be able to push this payload.
Yeah, Buds made the swap of his own from the Widowmaker to the Genji, and they cleared out the support line. So in the very end, Selfless makes it work. Clockwork did not have the most impactful tac visor.
He drew attention at least with it, though.
Yeah, he did. He distracted the D.Va. That gave room for Buds to get those kills onto the support players of Selfless on the backside of the point.
Yeah. And now Selfless scrambling to find a defensive position here in the hangar phase. They didn't have a lot of time to set it up, and FNRGFE getting a little bit of extra pushing going because of it. The front does have that tac visor now. Oh, but he's in the shuttle. Oh, thank goodness for him. Winston got out of there, popped the sound barrier. That was drawn out of Selfless. See if they can channel that into a defensive win. Transcendence used, though, on the side of FNRGFE to try to mitigate a little bit of that damage. Transcendence from Michael 3D as well. Both Zenyatta's going off here. Selfless trying to hang tough in this defensive fight. Looks like they've got it for the moment.
Trance is basically counteracting both of the tac visors that came through. So after the sort of zero-sum game we saw there, Selfless is going to come out on top and cut their way through the payload. That was a very aggressive defense by Selfless. I didn't think they would actually go after that high ground, but they are a very aggressive team, and they really relied on their mechanics to win the day. Not gonna hit.
Did not get hit, yeah, by Enigma. That one hurts, man. He had a wide open opportunity there. Meanwhile, Dragon Blade for Sinatra picking up 3 already. So I guess with a little bit of spawn camping there from Selfless, that push is going to be stopped cold. Going to go down, but it's got time to come back. No big deal.
And when you have one of those Dragon Blades, Doa, and you see that Enigma was playing the Tracer, moving to 3 DPS, one of those Dragon Blades can clear out all 3 DPS so quickly. Enigma now switching back over to the D.Va because he knows he needs to buy time on the cart with only 40 seconds left.
Yep.
They've got to really rely on this Dragon Blade right now from Buds. He's got to be the hero.
Yeah, he's looking for that opportunity right now. The D.Va's going in after each other. Not really finding it. Sound barrier, though, for FNRGFE. Opportunity's going to come maybe pretty soon. The payload was moving, pulls it out now, gets 1. The kill's pretty even up here and there. And Bud's not getting a huge ultimate out of that. The payload is stalled out for the moment, though. Attack visor now on the side of Defron. Oh, Solo down to 17, now 0 health. But it's a brawl. I mean, it's a huge battle. Kills on both sides. Selfless barely hanging on. I mean,
Kresnik still has his self-destruct. There's no way they're getting this.
Michael 3D getting in there. Yeah, they're pushing him off the payload now, and FNRGFE in big, big trouble. Nobody on the payload at the moment. No Point gets back there just in time. They're going to chase down Clockwork, though, and that may be it. With the sound barrier, can they hold it? Transcendence trying to keep FNRGFE alive in this push here, but I just don't know, man. People are getting back to the payload. It's kind of at that midpoint between both teams, and it's going to be a longer fight. Selfless sticking in there, though. Bonnie on the outside, gotta watch that positioning. There's the self-destruct now. The blue team, no kills, but at least it gets the payload moving slightly farther.
Sinatra came in at the end and popped his Dragon Blade with the enemy Transcendence at the same time.
Oh,
didn't get the kills he needed.
Speaking of kills that are needed, though, FNRGFE coming up big in this particular skirmish, and that payload is actually going to get some distance. Let's see if Selfless lets it go, or if they try to go for one last-ditch effort defense. They've maybe got time to throw a couple people at it, but you know, at this point, you may just want to cut your losses and set up for point C.
Yeah, you may
see if they go for it. They're going for it.
Yeah, they're going to try and contest, and that's going to be the sound barrier coming out immediately.
All right, they draw out that defensive ultimate. I mean, FNRGFE has to. They have no choice. They got to try to keep this push going. Selfless is back in force now, though. Waiting to see who takes this fight, and it's looking pretty good for the blue team. They're going to push that payload, and they are going to take point B. Minute 30 on the clock. Not a ton of time to work with. Really tough to finish Gibraltar with that, but hey, at least they got it this far. But remember, they have to get all 3 points.
And if Selfless right here, their goal coming in should have been to go for the sound barrier and draw it out and then retreat. Instead, they commit quite a lot. They end up losing the fight, which gives more ult charge on other members over to FNRGFE. And with that single ult use, we're approaching a 5 ult push here.
Here we go. It's getting big, man. It's the ult-pocalypse as FNRGFE tries to keep their hopes on Gibraltar alive. Sound barrier for Selfless as they come charging back in again. They've got a Primal Raging Winston in the back. There's the self-destruct. It does catch Lucio on the Selfless side. Could be a bit of a problem. Another self-destruct coming in for Selfless. A Selfless destruct? I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, Buds picks up the kill on Emog in the end. And that Dragon Blade, what's it going to get for Buds? Looking for some kills, not really finding much, but again, his teammates picking up the slack, and they're going to be able to capitalize on some of this. And that payload continues to move. One of the longest overtime pushes I have seen in a very long time.
Yeah, they're going to get back down to overtime again. Selfless only finished with a little less than 9 seconds on the clock. So we're going to be about even here. We could go into an extremely long second attack and defense phase.
We'll see. Another sound barrier coming in. I hear attack visor going. No kills really coming out. Clockwork trying to build his own in the back lines, and FNRGFE still pushing. Only Kresnik to deal with. Popped out of the mech now. That payload may get a little bit more distance. We're back into overtime again. Bonnie with the kill onto Kresnik, of course.
Fadeaway kill onto Fran. They're very crucial.
Are they actually going to finish this? Selfless right there, but everybody's going down. Sinatra, the only one left, the only one standing between blue team and 3 points, and they will get it. Wow, quite the round complete for FNRGFE. Into overtime, extended overtime on point B, and then able to use just a minute 30 on the clock to push the rest of the way. If you're on Selfless right now, you are not feeling too good about that.
I definitely would not be feeling too good about that, though. I mean, at the end there, we saw, especially in the hangar phase, there was a really good opportunity for Selfless just to go ahead and take that map before point B, relying on Kresnik, who had such a good job of holding his self-destruct, as well as blocking out the tac visor that came in from Clockwork. But at the end, you really have to credit Enigma on that final point. He did actually zone off to Fran during that tac visor into the spawn room and set up that kill for Buds, who had swapped over to that Genji and proved pretty effective. And that's not a hero we really associate with Buds in the past.
Yeah, well, it's good to see the flexibility. Obviously, you know, Bud's known as this like a great Reaper player, of course. We talked a bit about the Widowmaker, but you know, as time goes on, as a pro player, you need to be flexible. You need to learn new heroes, and he's showing us he's certainly been putting in the practice on the Genji.
That's right. So only 8 more seconds for Selfless, rather, and of course,
helpless.
Helpless.
What? They're not. They looked helpless. Sneaking out there.
They looked helpless that last defense. I will say. But Selfless.
Wow. Well, let's wait until the match is over. All right. Jeez.
They'll have a chance to redeem themselves for sure. But with only an 8-second difference, this is likely to go into an extended overtime push, and that can necessitate certain compositions like with D.Va or Mei that are very good at clearing out that payload and stopping a push cold in its tracks, where the overtime bar will just tick down to 0.
Wow, Selfless just being super aggressive with this defense again. Bud's a little bit zoned out. Looks like they're a little bit more ready for this Widowmaker this time around.
Actually picked off. That's huge right there.
I would say so. Defran sneaking around the outside, and they are all over this payload. 35 seconds left for FNRGFE on their second offensive push. They do take down Dahan. Oh, Defran, rather.
Buds, I'm really surprised he's sticking onto this Widowmaker right now.
Clockwork doing work, though, and the payload may actually start moving. There goes Sinatra, and yeah, after a bit of a stall, they are going to get some progress, but again, down to just 10 seconds left for FNRGFE.
And the problem, Doa, is that when you have a Widowmaker, she's not going to be able to participate with moving the payload. So basically, you have to get picks as they come in to try and contest the payload right now. Otherwise, you're not going to be very helpful for your team.
It's a high-risk, high-reward push, right?
Yes.
I mean, you're going for it. You have to try something crazy sometimes to get as far as you can, and so far, so good. They've moved the payload. Could be a little bit farther, but see what they can do now. Sinatra going down yet again. Clockwork's just had his number on 76 seemingly all round so far. Haven't stopped the payload just yet. That overtime bar is going to go down quickly. So if Clockwork can clear off the rest of Selfless, they can keep this push going, and it looks like they will. Wow, getting point A would be huge here, and they are going to do it. That's big.
Absolutely. As you say, Clockwork really and Enigma together working on those front lines. Tac visor here actually not doing a lot as they back off with the heal station into the room on the left-hand side.
But that's the point, right? They're backing off.
Yep. Not able to contest that card. And when we look at Selfless now, Kresnik about 70%. In these late phase overtimes, one self-destruct can buy you the time you need on that card.
Yeah. So at this point, no more extra time. Goodbye, Enigma. That payload, that overtime bar is going to go down no matter what. Defran, death from above. I thought that was Farah's job. Meanwhile, the sound barrier in response. Support ultimates all over the place. So after they end, we'll see who falls. Bud's going down early on. Sound barrier for Selfless. Good job saving that one. A little bit on the longer side. Primal Rage, though, on the side of FNRGFE. Just trying to keep people off the payload. That overtime bar going down, and Selfless will hold it. But man, FNRGFE getting a pretty solid push in their time bank round.
Yeah, they did. But after those ultimates got up, after we saw the self-destruct be staggered after the Primal Rage, knock everybody off the cart, when they try and come back to contest during the overtime bar, that's when the self-destruct goes off. And there's not really very many ways that you are going to come back from that. And so that does cause the game to sort of end. But the problem with those kind of compositions is sometimes, especially with self-destruct, it can take a while to build that up. So you can give a long push, but you can definitively end it when the results come up.
Very true. So now it's on Selfless to push. They again have 8 seconds more than FNRGFE did on their offensive push. See what they decide to go with so far in the spawn room for Selfless. Looking pretty standard with what they've been showing us earlier. And just to watch the end of that round again, you know, like you said, the way they comboed those ultimates, you know, you just can't get back to the payload in time.
But this is just good ult economy usage. It goes trance straight into sound barrier. Kresnik was getting his self-destruct ready. He was about 75% when that fight started, and then it chained immediately into the primal rage and then to the self-destruct, trying to stay on the cart when they have that much shield, that much health regeneration, and then the disruption of self-destruct and primal rages is incredibly difficult. So Selfless played very clean to end the round.
Yeah. We'll see if they're going to show a little bit more of that clean play as they begin the round now on offense. FNRGFE, all they have to do is stop them from getting to that golden glowing box on the ground just after point A, and they would win Gibraltar. Selfless trying to push it. Sinatra sneaking up on the high ground here.
When we saw the first defense, Buds did great work with the Soldier 76, and Selfless, even though Sinatra has been effective at using the Genji, seems very reluctant to start with it for some reason. I think that is a bit of a mistake.
I mean, it's a high-pressure situation, right? So you're going to go with those comfort picks probably. Selfless are getting the early kills here initially. The payload is moving for the moment. And Buds took down Emong, but overall, that payload not slowed down too much, so a pretty solid start for Selfless.
Yeah, they have to fall back, make sure that they don't give any more ult charge. Yeah. Over to Selfless, set up another defense here. Sinatra, very close to getting picked off on that high ground, does recall.
That would have been pretty bad if they would have lost him right now. Payload moving in. It's going to get stopped for the moment. Nobody on it. Yeah, there we go. Going to be an OT at the end, possibly. FNRGFE, they have to drop him the payload. Enigma jumps down there. Boink as well. And now we will be into OT. Sinatra does go down. It's a 5v6 at the moment as FNRGFE tries to end it right here, right now. Clockwork with a couple kills. And here comes the attack visor. Buds unopposed on the high ground. And that OT bar is going to drop fast. Nobody dealing with that Soldier 76. And FNRGFE, they are going to take watch point Gibraltar.
So they used the nano boost on Buds just to get him into range for the attack visor at the end. He was very patient with it, waiting until he got the Orb of Harmony back on him to actually commit to using that attack visor. But I think you really have to question Selfless. Every time FNRGFE's strategy was the same. It was get Buds on the high ground, use that nano boost to power him up, and we see a Zenyatta play of the game.
Wow, you don't see many of these. Let's see what Bonnie can do here. Yeah, there's one. Show us more. Doe wants more kills. Right click. Oh, baby. Yeah. This is bloodthirsty support. I love it. FNRGFE. Ooh, we're off to a good start today, guys. I'm excited about that one.
I'm just frustrated with Selfless because the strategy didn't really differ. And as soon as they put more pressure onto Buds, Selfless was getting more traction in these games. And yes, you have to pick blind into, especially if you're on the defense in some of these situations, but go ahead and start with that Genji, because otherwise you're overloading Kresnik. It has to be his job to go into the back line. And when you have when the Diva has an Orb of Discord, she drops so fast that you maybe are not doing as much work with the defensive matrix as you might like. You need to share that load. So I am a bit confused about why Buds was able to get such good positioning for free for a lot of that match.
Yeah, it definitely seems like he was the X factor in this one, because if we're looking at all of the potential carries out of both of these teams, pretty much everyone else was largely silent. We had moments here and there, but Buds consistently, there was a little bit of a rough patch there on Widow on their first attack, but Buds definitely carried this one. And Sinatra, Defran, and Emong, they were just struggling to find their groove there in a lot of ways, I think.
Well, I mean, it's a couple factors here and there, and you know, as much as I like seeing people play Zenyatta, you know, I do feel after watching the earlier matches today, after watching this one, that Michael 3D has a little bit of a timing issue with his transcendences. And it's hard to say that that's him specifically. You know, maybe that's a shot call that went out on the team. You know, we don't know what the communication's like in that particular situation, but it is difficult, right? Because you have to be very careful when you use it, because if you use it at the wrong time, then you have the Dragon Blade coming in right after that, attack visor perhaps. So, you know, a little bit more coordination on the side of Selfless could kind of augment that individual skill that we're seeing so far.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, I mean, it was definitely now starting to see how this team has gotten here, and I've got some good news and some bad news. First of all, it's really exciting. That's the good news. The bad news is we might have to really practice their name a little bit more.
Yeah,
I messed it up.
It's tough, man. That's a long acronym. FNRGFE. I think I've got it.
Okay.
I think I've got it.
Yeah, you were nailing it there at the end.
I messed it up. I messed it up.
That's all right. Yeah, it's anyway. It's the one time when I really was just like, okay, blue. This is just the blue team right now. We'll pick up the pieces later.
See, we've got the opposite problem. In Korea, we had teams named blue, and so that's like, no, you can't do that,
Blue's
guys.
on red.
Yeah. I'd rather have FNRGFE.
Okay,
than a team named blue. For the record,
an upgrade in that regard at the very least. Well, we're going into our next map here shortly, and it is going to be Nepal. So we're going into control right now. This time chosen by Selfless. What are our thoughts with Selfless coming into control point?
So notably, Gibraltar is a map that really is a lot about high ground in general and controlling that high ground well. Every single stage of Gibraltar has significant high ground advantages. But Nepal, you don't necessarily have to play to that high ground. You look at a map like Shrine, it's not so much about getting that overlook. And this is a map where I think that if they really want to continue to committing to the Tracer play, it will be great for them. So yeah, I think that this is definitely much more in the wheelhouse of the composition that we've seen from Selfless so far.
Yeah, and Selfless likes to fight, right? They're a very scrappy team. And so as we move into the control map, you know, and it's even their choice, I feel like despite losing that last one in kind of a tough way, they're going to come into this one with a lot of comfort.
Yeah, we are going to see Selfless. Sinatra, the Zarya player on this team, typically, so Defran will be swapping over to the Tracer for this one.
Yimang perhaps on the Roadhog, first Roadhog of the day, as we see them maybe take this triple tank comp. Meanwhile, maybe some pharmacy on the FNRGFE side.
It's interesting, too, because on the old Fnatic roster, it was usually Halfakul who was playing the projectile DPS, and now Bud's starting to pick up some of these roles as we go on to Village.
Selfless just charging the point right away, right off the bat, getting into shelter, kind of making it hard for Buds to do his work on Pharah. Gonna try to shoot into the point, but it's hard to do it. You're really exposing yourself a lot to a lot of fire if you get that low on Pharah.
I mean, this is my least favorite Pharah map on Nepal.
I agree. Yeah.
But you can make it work.
Nice
gonna go ahead and get that hook. No,
we got out though. Huh. All right. Meanwhile, Selfless does grab the point first here, but FNRGFE bulldozing their way in immediately after that. Michael 3D on the Ana goes down. Initially, there's the sound barrier for Selfless. Wow, Doc got that so fast, by the way.
Defran running through the back line, managing to take out Buds. And that's the problem with Pharah, because you don't necessarily need those long-range hit-scan heroes on Village, because if Pharah wants to contest that point, you have to get low enough to the ground to get the angle inside the hut at the center of the village, and that does leave you open to getting killed even by things like Tracer.
Yeah, well, let's watch that replay again here. Yeah, Defran just getting a ton of damage done with that Tracer, and you know, I love watching Selfless when they swap Sinatra onto the Zarya like this too, because you know, everybody talks about his Tracer, but his Zarya is quite good as well.
And there's a lot of ults coming up, and Barrage gonna try and do some work, but Sleep Dart immediately.
Yep. Whoa, there's a big rest coming in from Bonnie, so FNRGFE not out of this fight quite yet. Whole hog Papa Emong, though, just trying to keep people out of the point. Gonna take down Muma. And it looks like with the sound barrier, wow, committing to the sound barrier, are they actually gonna be able to get to the point? Ooh, I don't know about that one. They're trying it. Sound barrier in response now for Selfless, though, so maybe a little bit of a communication issue there for FNRGFE is they weren't able to use that Luciol to really get any sort of purchase on the point.
I mean, the problem with FNRGFE's team composition right here is who is going to stay on the point.
Yeah.
Compared to the short-range brawling power that Selfless has, but that kill from the self-destruct will help.
That certainly will. Point being flipped right now. Meanwhile, Nano Boost over onto Sinatra on that Zarya, gonna roast people with the laser. And the nice thing about giving the Nano Boost to Zarya, we've seen many times too, is that you build that Graviton Surge so much quicker that way too.
Well, that's a crucial late kill as Defran manages to get Clockwork down big.
Oh, no mech for you.
Yeah, big res right there, but it's just not enough.
That's right. Meanwhile, Muma in there with the Primal Rage, just trying to get Selfless off the point. Kresnik swinging away with the Reinhardt. FNRGFE, though, picking up the early kills. There's that Graviton Surge, but where's the follow-up? They need a little bit more. There's a couple, and the barrage comes in. Oh, but Bud's not lasting long enough to get a ton of it. Res for Bonnie, though. Heroes apparently never die, and they are going to flip the point. Wow, at 99%. Getting that last-minute flip. But if you look on the Selfless side of things, a lot of ultimates coming up for these guys pretty soon.
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't have used the Graviton Surge there if you're Sinatra. Thrown out, I think, a bit prematurely. You can't really be worried about them flipping the point. You, in fact, if they're going to come in and try and blow all those ultimates, waste their res, well, not waste, they flipped it over, but use the res in order to change hands on that control point. Instead of committing to that Graviton, trying to end the game right there, know that you've got 100% left to come back, right? So don't use it, let them have it, have that discipline.
Plenty of time, plenty of ults, and they're trying to take it back right now. We'll see if they can do it. Defran does go down, has that pulse bomb in reserve, so looks like they might be waiting a little bit more, but now Selfless sitting on 5 ultimates.
The problem is that FNRGFE is going to have another res now. Pretty soon here, Bonnie.
You got to prioritize killing the Mercy, you know?
Yeah, and
she can be sneaky, but you got to do it.
So moving up here, 5 ults for Selfless. Are they going to wait until Sinatra also gets the Graviton? They're going to commit early with the sound barrier.
Wow, yeah. Charging into the point right now, see if they can just flip it back real quick. Enigma does go down. There's a whole hog used after the Earth Shatter. Rez comes in, gets 2 up. Selfless needs to win this fight, essentially the 6v8. Imong with another kill onto Boink, so without the Lucio, FNRGFE may be in a little bit of trouble, but Clockwork responding with Attack Visor, just trying to keep Selfless off the point. They are flipping it, though, for the moment. Can they hold on, though? It's going to be tough. Sinatra goes down. They do flip it, though. Can they hold it? Really tight first round here on Nepal. And is it just going to flip right back?
Buds with 6 HP finally falls. Lasted a hell of a long time on that point. They are going to flip it back 80%. So Selfless goes for the big push, and now all they have to work with is a Graviton.
All right. 90% now for FNRGFE as well.
All right, Imong going to switch to the Diva.
Yeah.
Try and get a little bit more staying power. Pulse Bomb not going to go ahead and land there for Defran.
And not finding anything. Clockwork has his own, though. Going to throw it in the middle. That doesn't do a ton of damage, but there's the Graviton Surge now. What are they going to get out of it? A couple kills for Buds already, and there's a barrage on top of it, and that may secure it. FNRGFE in a great position, and they will take Village here on Nepal. Good start for the blue team.
Absolutely, and I think Selfless honestly getting a bit greedy in that last push. Sinatra, especially his last 2 Graviton Surges, left a lot to be desired. Threw it out, but Bud's still getting a lot of rockets in there, and that's just a map you shouldn't be getting a lot of rockets on. And if you're FNRGFE right now, you're really confident coming back in if you're going to keep playing fire, but they are in fact going to mix it up.
Oh, so close, Buds. But yeah, you don't want to lose a map from the position that Selfless was in, right? They had 99%, they had all those ults, they had so much time to set up a fight, and they couldn't pull it off. That is a worrying situation if you're Selfless right now.
They tried too hard to end the game at 99-0 instead of playing the more patient, forward-thinking style that I think would have been more successful.
Well, Team Selfless and patience are not 2 things that I really think go together, it seems like. From what I've seen so far, they're going to try to fight it out here on Shrine. And it is a best of 5 for our control map, so they've got plenty of time to bring this one back. As we see the initial kills come in, the initial fight over the point. Clockwork on the outside, not touched too much, but Defran's trying to change that. Going after the Zenyatta on the top. Hard to get up that wall, yeah. Tracer can't climb walls, that's a problem.
There's plenty around that health pack right now. You can see Clockwork and Bonnie covering each other on top of the health station. Bud's doing what he can to try and turn this Reinhardt around. Imong covering his back with a hook, but that...
Ooh. Well, Michael does go down via the ultimate. Battle's still happening. Nobody claiming the point quite yet. Imong walking on with the Roadhog. Looking strong with it so far. There's a hook, and that may be a kill on. Yeah, Muma does go down, and it looks like Selfless may be able to claim the point first. They did last time as well, though. They will get the control percent building early on here at least, but can they hold on to it?
A lot of charge from Sinatra. When you're running these 3 DPS, they're going to have to make sure they get their flanks in order, because getting multiple people caught by a Graviton or an Earth Shatter can be absolutely devastating with how fast you can take down these DPS characters. So flanks have to be well prepared here for FNRGFE.
Yeah, very true. These last 2 points on Nepal can be pretty tough to swing back if you lost them. Especially Sanctum, which we, obviously are going to see next year. Clockwork with the Tac Visor, but this is one of those maps where it's kind of hard to set up a clean Tac Visor on sometimes, so we'll see what they can get. Gets pulled into the Graviton Surge, though. Not a ton of follow-up. Clockwork does go down. That at least takes out a big threat, and Selfless looks like they are going to win this defensive fight pretty handily.
Yeah, Enigma knew it was lost, throws himself off the map as fast as he can. Use the recall to go ahead and get out of that Graviton surge. And you know what? Selfless holds on to most of their ults, approaching 5 right now in FNRGFE, hoping they could get a little bit more out there on that push and try and retake with a host of their own.
So far,
6
Selfless,
ultimates.
Yeah, they're showing a pretty good amount of efficiency here as they're trying to hold, but this fight's going to be the big one. This next one is going to be FNRGFE's best chance, and well, I think you have to wait a little bit longer for it now with Buds going down. That was a big pick. Pulse Bomb used on the Selfless side for not a whole lot. Defron was traded for in return. Sound Barrier, they're going to go for it. Nice angle onto Krasnik on the side. Sound Barrier coming in for Selfless. Clockwork waiting for that golden opportunity to pop that tactical visor. And he thinks it's going to be now. Reinhardt shielding away, though. Going to try to run around the outside. Trying to take people on the outside of the point, but he's not finding a whole lot. Transcendence going in. Clockwork not getting a ton done, but Selfless, maybe the repositioning they had to do will make a difference. Buds has the opportunity to pull out the Dragon Blade still. Gets 2 kills without needing to use it, though. And Selfless starting to look a little bit scattered here on Shrine. And yeah, it looks like slowly but surely FNRGFE may be able to swing this one back around.
Well, they're waiting on this Dragon Blade right now. He's going to pick up 2, being very patient and holding it, slowly grinding out this fight.
You know, again, though, Selfless losing the point at 99%. Are we going to see a similar situation to round 1?
Well, Selfless really overcommitted with those ults. That fight started with Defron picking off Buds and it being a 6 versus 5 in favor of Selfless. FNRGFE used 1 ult, which was the Sound Barrier, and Selfless just used 3 immediately. So the turn back once Buds came back into the fight showed a lot more discipline and helped them swap the point.
Here we go again. Dragon Blade's coming in for Buds, looking for the backline, gets Michael early on. Whoa, 2 from the Pulse Bomb of Defron, though, answering for Selfless. Pulse Bomb, not getting a whole lot on the FNRGFE side. They've lost a lot of people so far. Clockwork so low, but he pops attack visor. Gotta go on the run. They gotta keep him alive. He may not get anything with this. No, nothing with the attack visor. He was too low. He had to run. Takes out Defron in the end, and they do barely hold on to the point, but wow, scary moment for FNRGFE.
Fell down to about 20 HP there at the start of things, but wasn't enough to actually move on through. Big Pulse Bomb for Defran, but Clockwork had the patience, did hit the Helix Rocket to at least take the Tracer and be able to make sure that they could hold on to their control.
Yeah, they kept it by the slimmest of margins. Hook not bringing in anything for Emong. They're going to pop the Sound Barrier. Aggressive attack coming in for Selfless. Meanwhile, Winston the back lines now. Selfless kind of pushed down the stairs a little bit here. That's going to bring Enigma his first kill. Emong very low, gets the self-heal off. Meanwhile, Muma with the Primal Rage looking to knock somebody off, but no, not going to find it. Kresnik does go down anyways. He tries to get back onto the point with Reinhardt. And FNRGFE continues to hold. I think the frustration is kind of starting to show here for Selfless.
I mean, if FNRGFE can bring this one back as well, Selfless has a lot of questions to answer about how they're trying to reapproach these points.
Yeah.
And how they're going to commit to the ulticati. That's a huge kill to start things off.
Yeah, he dies right before the Sound Barrier hits him, so it's going to be a 5v6. Big advantage coming in for Selfless. Earthshatter doesn't catch a lot, though, and Selfless needed that CC. Now it's that straight-up fight. He did get blanked with the Fire Strike, at least, so that's 1 support down. It's 99 to 99 now, just like we saw last time, and Selfless may be able to flip the point back. It looks like they are, and FNRGFE desperately trying to come back. Buds comes in with the Dragon Blade, takes down Doc. That's going to be it. Selfless answering, but man, that one was close.
FNRGFE mistimed their ultimates. Buds was at about 90% of his Dragon Blade in that coming into that last fight, and had that Sound Barrier been slightly sooner, or Buds been a little bit further back, he got greedy trying to throw some shurikens to get the charge. Thought he had the backup of the Lucio shield, but it just was a very, very hair
like a millisecond,
like a couple, like a fraction of a second, as you're saying, off, and that made all the difference there at the end.
Well, we come into Sanctum all tied up. One last look at the fight here on Shrine. And man, again, just a really scrappy match, but Selfless able to grab that one. And man, they really needed it. If they were going to lose 2 rounds in nearly the same way, you're just not feeling good at that point. So now a little bit of confidence boosted for Selfless as they come on to Sanctum, tied up in this best-of-5 Nepal map.
glad we're seeing the Pharmacy come back for them, because I think they were able to be successful with it on Village, which is not necessarily the most ideal map, but this one here in Sanctum, it really can shine. You have a lot more long sight lines and verticality to abuse here. It's going to be a really long flank around here for FNRGFE.
Yeah, Selfless taking a lot of rockets as they move around. Oh, there's a big knockup though onto Sinatra. Did he get?
No, he got onto the staircase.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe he survived that one. I thought he was off for sure. FNRGFE building a little bit of control up there. Can they do it? Oh, boink. With a left click to the face is Selfless. Storms back onto the point again, and they're going to charge in there. Emon coming up big on the Road Dogg, and Selfless for the third time in a row is going to claim the point first. There's a reset, and FNRGFE going to go back to the drawing board here.
It looked like Muma may have gotten a bit too far forward right there. The Mercy was preoccupied. Bonnie having to heal up Clockwork as he got low and was trying to provide covering fire. Ended up with the Winston being fairly isolated on the front lines, and Selfless getting a couple of big kills.
Yeah.
Defend here right at the gates.
Sinatra.
Be careful with that one. Mercy.
Yep. 100 charge on Sinatra right now. He's going to be doing a ton of damage with the Zarya.
Yeah, split attack here. They're trying to do a pincer.
Oh, that was another close call for Sinatra. The Zarya, who lived, barely avoids falling off again. FNRGFE trying to flip the point back, but Emong again claiming those kills. And the blue team has to fall away. Sinatra was just doing a ton of damage on that Zarya. If he had been knocked off, if FNRGFE had gotten that environmental kill, maybe they would have been able to flip it.
It was a good shot call, though, from Selfless, because after they had zoned out Bonnie and Buds on the outside door, they realized several members of FNRGFE were rushing the point. They turn on it quick, man advantage, and then they're able just to push it on through.
Yep. That's right. Tobelstein used. There's a res coming in for FNRGFE. They're not done yet, trying to back cap there. Being a little bit tricky with the Tracer. Clockwork low again. Doesn't get a chance to use that attack visor, trying to wait out DeFranz. Now he's going to use his. And where's the defense? That sound barrier running off. Oh, sick Helix rockets from DeFranz to stop that ultimate cold. And Selfless looking a little bit stronger here, but we're getting up to that 99% moment where it seems like FNRG has always come back. But this time around, with the aggressive defense that Selfless is playing, it might be tough. But I think we're going to see a back cap attempt coming in from Enigma again.
Yeah, he's going to force them back. But Clockwork had a very late tack visor, did use it after the sound barrier come down. Nothing that he was going to be able to do with that. And with Bud switching over to Genji at the end as well, no chance to get that Dragon Blade in a timely manner. The attempt at a back cap just to make sure that they had some open room on the point. And it's not really going to be that effective. So Selfless continuing here to take a lead, moving up to 2-1, and they are now on map points.
They looked so much better on Sanctum as well, but you know, I feel like Sanctum, more than really any other control point, plays to Selfless strengths, where they like to win the fight, and then they like to try to do as close to spawn camping in Overwatch as you can possibly do. You saw them playing way out front near the FNRGFE spawn. That name, that team name, man, it's still tough. We'll get used to it.
All right, back onto Shrine now. Selfless is going to be rolling with the Reinhardt yet again.
Yep.
But not going to be playing the Pharah, so sticking with the Genji.
A win on this round for Selfless would tie up the series. They would take Nepal with it. Enigma just building that pulse bomb, doing a bit of damage. Nice dodge on the Road Dogg hook. Clockwork does manage to catch DeFranz on the side, though, with that Helix rocket. So Selfless a little bit shorthanded coming into this one. That's a point on Locks. Oh, he's nearly got it. That pulse bomb nearly there, has to back off. Close call.
Yeah, nice harassment by Emong. You can see how well he's gatekeeping the backside of the line.
I got the kill on Clockwork right before he went down. So at least he traded 1 for 1. Meanwhile, Tac Visor, we've used. Buds does go down on the Genji, though. It's Sinatra, of course. Full charge. Seems like whenever we see this guy, he's got 100 charge. Certainly does not miss a lot.
No, his tracking has been good, and his ability to get a lot of charge out of his barriers has been fine. It's just been that once he has that ultimate, he hasn't been very effective with it so far. Gravitons have not been particularly inspiring.
It's Dragon Blade time. Here we go, coming in, looking for the support kills in the back. It was answered by the sound barrier, though. A couple extra slashes required. Oh, and he gets taken down by the hook from Emong. Defron, meanwhile, has that pulse bomb. He's ready to do whatever he needs, and he doesn't even need to use it. And Selfless gonna hold on to this point.
And finally getting an extended battle just to start off. A lot of ultimates being built up, and at least the Dragon Blade used there.
Felt like a defensive point for Selfless that entire time because it was just them mostly having it, and FNRGFE.
Oh, that's a heartbreaker. That could have been a very important pick. Get you 10-15% for free.
Yeah, that one's rough. Defron in the back lines again. They get the Primal Rage out of FNRGFE, and Muma looking for those environmental kills. Gets pinned though, and the kills coming in for the blue team now. Looking okay. And they are going to flip this one back. So, for the first time, seeing a round where it wasn't flipped at 99% or wasn't taken at 99%, I suppose.
Yeah, and Muma coming in with a really clutch Primal Rage. He knocked Kresnik out of position, even though he had that Earth Shatter. No real way to get into a position to get a multiple person hit on that crowd control.
Yeah. All right, sound barrier. Let's see if FNRGFE can hold on to this one, playing a pretty offensive, defensive fight, if that makes any sense. It does to me, so don't worry about it. Clockwork with that Helix Rocket onto Defron seals the deal, and they should be able to keep this point for the moment.
Nothing would they get on both sides of Kresnik, and one thing that has been happening consistently here on Shrine have been Enigma and Buds just torturing Kresnik from behind, getting around the edge of his shield, and Emong hasn't been able to keep both of them off him at one time, chipping away at that Reinhardt health pool.
A little bit later kill on the Michael as well, created a bit of a staggered spawn that now Selfless had to deal with. Back on the push now, but they had to wait a little bit longer to get that going.
So Selfless's problem with this composition is who do you actually nano boost here? Because do you want to nano boost the whole hog? You have to use it in conjunction with this.
All right, Big Bang. Does he get it? Yeah, gets a couple. Selfless with a great start to this fight. They are nearly flipping it back now. Muma with one kill with the bounce, but I don't think that's going to be enough. This Dragon Blade has to be huge for Buds, but that sound barrier is going to prevent it from doing pretty much anything. And FNRGFE going to have to cede the point in the end.
Not sure you necessarily needed that right there. Good Big Bang as we're seeing to start things off.
Oh, yeah.
Just tossing the Pulse Bomb straight into the Graviton Surge. Again, the Nano Boost targets are limited here for Selfless. They basically have to rely on a Nano Boosted Roadhog if they want to get this defense successful. So
yeah. FNRGFE diving in again. Muma has that Primal Rage if he wants to use it. Nano Boost onto Emong using that Nano Whole Hog. But FNRGFE just backs up. Not a lot of, oh, he gets Muma in the end, but not due to the Nano Boost. Either way, Selfless holding the point. And Clockwork, he's been holding on to that attack visor for a long time. Some kills. Oh, he gets hooked though. That one hurts. Finishes himself off with the Helix Rockets, but a kill's a kill, right?
Yeah, we're just not going to see it switched right here. Mostly zoning that whole hog with the Nano Boost on top. Yeah. And even though it's not going to do much damage, the kills still manage to come through with the help of some of those hooks.
Yeah, meanwhile, we're back on the point right now. 74%. We're into overtime. Selfless looking to win Nepal right here, right now. But the kills coming in, and they are mostly in favor of FNRGFE for the moment. Finally, Tac Visor popped by Clockwork, zoning out Selfless. They want to flip it back. They nearly have it. Sinatra can't stay alive, and they will. So, 75%. Selfless with a couple ults pretty close, but not a lot of time to work with. Oh, and that late kill on Defron. That is huge. Selfless going to be short-handed at a time where they cannot afford to be.
Yeah, we're going to 99-99 for sure now, Doa. Kresnik with the Shatter and Buds needing to avoid that one. Doesn't really have a lot of protection. Has to stay within the trance.
Dragon Blade coming in for Buds on the outside. Oh, he gets hit with the Earth Shatter though, and Sound Barrier for Selfless keeping them up. We're into OT. It is 99-99. There's a Graviton Surge, and Selfless cleaning up this fight, trying to take it back again. And if they do, they can win Nepal and tie up this series. Desperately trying to do it, and Zenyatta, sorry man, I love you, but you're not going to retake the point by yourself. Selfless will win Nepal, and we've got a tie series.
Kresnik with a really clutch shatter there at the end because Buds was trying to reposition to get back into Bonnie's Transcendence and never really had an opportunity to get there. We're going to see a huge res from Village. Wow, well really exciting. Well snuck indeed.
Yep. 4-man res.
Well,
good times.
And one of the themes of this entire matchup has been ult usage and, you know,
Sure.
the varying degrees of, well, skill from the side of FNRGFE, 3 for 3. Yes. But I would say that the ultimate they used the most successfully was those reses. Bonnie had a couple of key ones there on Nepal to help them. Didn't get them victory in this case. But let's walk through their ultimate usage as a team here a little bit.
I mean, it is a little bit hard with this one. We did see some barrages and some reses that were successful. And in spite of that success, I feel like each of the teams sort of had suboptimal team compositions. And for me, I guess the real story is it feels like the teams are fighting against themselves to get the best composition possible. And we're seeing those big reses, but the question is that actually right for that particular map? And even though Selfless won on that last point, I don't really see a lot of value to having an Ana in that particular composition, even though Michael 3D was struggling with some of the Transcendence usage earlier. The Discord Orb is just so much more useful if you don't have a great target for your nano boost. So, like, why even play Ana in that scenario? It really wasn't particularly effective.
I mean, it seems like it's a comfort thing for Michael, right? I mean, he always has been more of an Ana player than a Zenyatta player, and Zenyatta is really important in the meta right now. But when you're kind of not feeling great about your own play, it feels nice to go back to one of those comfort picks. And they did get the win on Nepal, so it may not be ideal, but, you know, sometimes you just got to do what works, right?
Or do what you're comfortable with.
Yes. And hopefully that works. And in this case, it did. The other person I really want to talk about is Emong. He was on the Hog this time around, and it definitely looked a lot better for him. How much of that is a key for this team? He was getting a lot of hooks there on Nepal.
Well, he had a lot of hook targets, to be fair. When you're facing off against these triple DPS and you know that there's going to be a Genji in your backline and you know that there's going to be a Tracer trying to get those flanks because you're playing the Reinhardt. I mean, he was playing it well, right? Your job is to create zones so your Reinhardt doesn't get chipped down and your Reinhardt can continue to walk forward and pressure people off of the point. So in that regard, I think he did a good job.
Yeah. And my final question with that, as we're going to be going into Temple of Anubis, is, you know, with such a strong presence on Roadhog, what if their opponent had someone who played Reaper? And what are your thoughts coming into this matchup as far as Reaper goes on Temple of Anubis?
Well, I don't know if a single Roadhog is reason enough to switch to Reaper just yet, but, you know, maybe if some of those patch changes that we're seeing on the PTR come through later on, we'll see a bit more of it.
Yeah, Anubis is interesting, though. We could see Sombra here, very popular, particularly on defensive second point, because of how well you can control the health packs with her and how open that final point is. EMP absolutely devastating. If you're trying to attack that point, having the defensive team EMP you basically causes wipes unless there are a large amount of mistakes made by the defensive team, or you've killed almost everybody but the Sombra.
Yeah, maybe a bit more Widowmaker as well. Certainly a map that lends itself to it on point A at least. We do have Bonnie on the Sombra for the moment, and, you know, we've been seeing this a lot for a while now, where one of the supports is just going to go with the Sombra. If you have those hacked health packs, they come back so fast. You're almost kind of doing your healing job. At least if we want to play kind of a DPS instead of a support, you can tell your teammates that anyway. But it does work. You build that EMP, and with a wide open point A like Anubis has, those EMPs certainly nearly always hit all the targets you want, so not a bad choice.
Yeah, and after Gibraltar, I am so happy to see Sinatra starting on the Genji, trying to control the high ground. I think that was the big missing factor to their team composition, was being not aggressive with the Genji early enough, just trying to make the Tracer work. And in fact, it will be Emong on the Tracer as they go for a triple DPS here.
Yeah, Michael back on the Zenyatta as well.
I might need this later.
Working quite well with the Genji as always, and Bonnie just walking around hacking all the health packs that he needs to hack. It sounded like a Dr. Seuss book for a second, but it's just what Sombra is like, you know? A lot of hacked health packs. All right.
I'd read it, though. I'd read it.
I know. You'd help me write it. I'd illustrate it. It'd be great. Bud's really low. Dangerous moment here for FNRGFE. Clockwork does get the kill on the Michael, though. Crucial early pick on the support. Low health members. There goes the other one. Doc going down, and Selfless may have to back off a little bit on this one. Well, Kresnik with 2 kills, so maybe they can kind of keep this push going. Again, these games have been such a brawl that it's interesting to see. EMP not getting a whole lot. Bonnie just throwing it up before he dies, and looks like that's going to be point A.
That was really dicey there for a moment. The health packs really zoning out Selfless on a lot lot of this attack, but because Defran got caught out on the backside of the point, they didn't really have the members to go ahead and contest.
It's interesting to see. EMP.
Well, we're going to see a very brief look at the EMP right there, which wasn't effective, and you're now not going to have that on the better point to use that particular ultimate on. Bonnie is going to stick to the Sombra.
Here we go. All right, ultimate's coming out right away from Sinatra, looking for those kills, trying to just steamroll this point. The D.Va is low. They've got about half the control percent built up already here, but FNRGFE coming back a little bit with some kills. Selfless needs to keep it rolling, but yeah, they may have to back off here. Yeah, that's going to be a reset. So getting the first tick already. A great first push early on for Selfless. Still some ultimates to work with. As Defran, will he live? Yeah, looks like he barely will.
Sinatra did pop the Dragon Blade very early, and unfortunately for Selfless, Michael 3D went down simultaneously, so didn't actually manage to pick up kills or damage with the Genji ult, and finding themselves one man down makes it quite difficult to continue the assault on that point. And in the meantime, Donnie's been able to get that EMP back up.
So they're going to pop the sound barrier, getting it cleared immediately by the EMP. I'm surprised they didn't see that one coming. Sound barrier for FNRGFE instead. And you don't even need to hack that monkey, man. He's already gone.
You can't do that. Like, that is a huge mistake from Selfless. You cannot make that mistake. The Sombra builds up that EMP by getting the health back from those health packs so quickly. And you have to have that patience because it takes so much longer to go ahead and get your sound barrier. You need to bait that one out. And it's just all too easy for FNRGFE to defend that. They allow Buds to save his Dragon Blade. And that means this defense is going to probably continue for quite a long time.
I mean, in the end, that was just kind of a mistiming of ultimates. Clearly didn't expect that hack to be available, or that EMP to be available there.
That shot call is a massive error.
Buds with the Dragon Blade, looking for some defensive kills here. Emong gonna stay alive. They're gonna pop the Transcendence to try to keep people up for now. And here comes the Dragon Blade, waiting for that Transcendence to end. And Buds looking pretty good right now. FNRGFE able to defend. Buds didn't pick up a lot of kills himself, but he did the damage, and the rest of his team did the rest of the work. So, in the end, Selfless not really able to gain any progress past what they got on that very first push.
And there's no way to stop him from getting that Dragon Blade because he's playing around the big hacked health back in the lower hallway. He can continue to reset his dash, moving back and forth, and just wipe up your whole team. Yeah. EMP back online now.
Very simple to wait out for that Dragon Blade too. And, you know, again, we've been talking about this, you know, the shot call coming through to use that early on, and then, you know, you want to save that for when the Dragon Blade is out, right? Here we go. Bonnie trying to build up that EMP again. He's got it now.
And Selfless has nothing. This is an ult economy push.
Yeah, EMP going to be used anyway. And Selfless, they don't care about any hacks. Sound barrier coming in for FNRGFE at the end, trying desperately to hold on to this one. And Selfless did get quite a few kills, but so far not really able to get any control percent building. Let's see what Sinatra can do with the Dragon Blade. Oh, nothing as he gets taken down. I guess he did get the kill onto Bonnie, but he needed more. Meanwhile, this respawn's coming in for FNRGFE, and Selfless may have to start backing off here. Yeah, they're already gone.
Yeah, back to zoning him out. Looked a bit dicey there. Selfless got a couple of very crucial picks early on. Surprising considering the health packs that we've seen hacked by this Sombra come up so quickly. Really shouldn't have been able to happen there. FNRGFE giving up those 2 early deaths and making it much harder on themselves against the Selfless that had no ults coming into the start of that fight.
Well, Clockwork getting the early pick on the Defran there is going to slow down everything from Selfless. They've still got time left. I mean, they took point A pretty quickly, so they've still got a bit of time to work with, but you know, you just don't want to lose a member of your team like that when you're trying to set up for another push. And yeah, we may see 1 or 2 more eco pushes here from Selfless, but still.
That was
you don't want to wait. Here we go. Going for it now. Pulse bomb. Selfless starts zoning out. Selfless a little bit. And it's just a battle in the tiny hallway off to the side. Clockwork does use that to get 2 kills here. And now he's going to drop the pulse bomb on the D.Va. Going to take out Emong as he pops out to use that self-destruct. That is not the time you want to exit your mech. And FNRGFE is going to hold this point again for the moment as the final cleanup kills come in. Oh, man. Poor Diva, you're like, all right, I'm going to cause a huge explosion. And you get caught by the one you didn't see coming.
Yeah, especially because we saw the sound barrier popped first. So as soon as the mini Diva comes out, you're not getting that shield to protect yourself against that pulse bomb. So really nice pulse bomb there.
You know, Diva's arms are sticking out of her suit. So why doesn't she get that barrier?
That's a great
What's
point.
up with that, Blizzard? We got to ask them.
All right, so we are going to see some swaps now. Here comes the Pharah and the Mercy. They're trying to get a big res off. They know that they've got enough time left on the clock to probably charge up about 1 barrage and 1 res here and see if they can just win a very extended fight.
Yeah. The desperation coming in from Selfless. They really could use 2 points. There's the EMP again, and where are the kills? Where's the follow-up coming in? Buds grabs the first one onto Doc. Meanwhile, Sinatra backed off, looking for those picks on the Roadhog, but not finding anything just yet. Clockwork getting a kill onto the mech with the Pulse Bomb. So FNRGFE holding strong here, and now with 1 minute remaining, it is down to the very end here for Selfless. They need to make something big happen in their next push.
And that went about as well as it could have for FNRGFE. They kept their big, important stall ultimates available in the form of the Primal Rage and the Sound Barrier. These are the ones that really help you win that last point. Michael 3D still trying to get up to that res, and we're going to see this one push. If the Mercy dies early, it will be a disaster.
It's really tough for Selfless right now, because even if you do win the initial fight, the respawn's coming so fast on Temple of Anubis that you know you're going to be fighting a long, protracted thing in overtime. So they need to have a huge definitive fight early. Oh, and losing Michael does not help you do that. Barrage for Defron, not finding anyone with that. Wasn't really too close. And there's the sound barrier now for FNRGFE. Doc drops to the self-destruct, and Selfless seems to just be collapsing here.
That was the worst possible scenario for them. Losing the res right as it came up. 2 seconds remaining, and that's it.
Yep. Wow. So Selfless coming away with just 1 point here on Temple of Anubis. FNRGFE with a great opportunity to win this match right here in what I think we got to say would be a bit of an upset.
It's a massive upset. If you look at Selfless's consistent performances in North America over the last few months, if they lose this best of 3, they will be competing no matter what in Contender Season 0 starting in Week 3. All of our teams tonight will. But it's a battle for seeding, and you know, it would be a win for FNRGFE to maybe push Selfless out of their group in that stage. Certainly would make things easier for them. And yes, we see a lot of these veteran players coming together from these 3 teams, Fnatic, NRG, and Gale Force. But the speed at which they've gelled is pretty impressive.
Yeah. They're looking good. And the thing is as we've watched them kind of move throughout the day, I feel like we've been seeing them playing better, which in a day like today, where stamina is really kind of one of the key words as you play all these best of 3s, it's really impressive to see the run that FNRGFE has put together.
Absolutely, and I'm particularly surprised by Buds. You know, we had talked to guys like Hex and ZP saying, hey, you know, Buds is expanding his hero pool, but to be playing at this level on projectile heroes, which he really wasn't playing actively on Fnatic, is impressive.
Yeah. I think we got to mention Clockwork too on Soldier 76. You know, just really coming up huge. A lot of kills on Sinatra's Tracer, a lot of great Helix rockets, and a lot of great hit scan tracking, which we've come to expect from him anyway.
Selfless is going to move away, not going for the triple DPS here on defense. Instead, having Iman go over onto the Winston while Kresnik plays the Diva. Highly mobile composition, trying to control the higher elevation parts of this particular map.
FNRGFE looking to get those early picks with the Widowmaker. We'll see what Clockwork can do.
Yeah, it's a dive composition where they're going to try and use the orb of
Discord,
to try and get those early picks. So we'll see how they play around the target. Target selection is everything. Get onto Genji.
And you don't want to shoot into the reflect.
Yeah, not going to find that shot. Well played by Sinatra.
Yeah, the diving, ideally, for FNRGFE is going to give Clockwork the space he needs to do the damage that his team needs. So far, though, a lot of pressure on him, a lot more than you would normally want to see on your Widowmaker with this comp.
And this is actually very disciplined defense here from Selfless. They're playing with the sight lines, only popping up when they have that reflect, trying to bait him, not giving opportunities for the Orb of Discord to hit.
Clockwork does get the kill onto Emongs in the end. So it is an advantage for Selfless now, but or for FNRGFE rather. And there's a kill on the Michael too. So finally, those picks starting to come in for Clockwork, and FNRGFE hits the go button, and they are going to get on point A. And it's looking, unless Selfless wants to really try to stall this defense, like they are going to take it pretty quickly.
That's just the patience there from FNRGFE. There was no pressure ever on that Widowmaker. We did see Defron trying to wrap around the backside, but they never were able to actually get up onto that high ground. Sinatra wants to go for the Sombra on the defense himself, but he will be sitting there at 0% of his ult charge. Clockwork going to swap over to a Reaper.
Okay. So not the Reaper we were expecting, but maybe the Reaper we deserve. Who knows? Either way, about 7 minutes on the clock when it began for FNRGFE after they took point A. Plenty of time to work on point B here. They're going to pop the Transcendence as they go in. Okay, let's see what they can get out of it. Here comes the Dragon Blade now. A kill for Clockwork already. This Reaper may be a bit of a surprise as FNRGFE steamrolling point B right now. This is the start of potentially a pretty good push and potentially a match-winning push for FNRGFE, but now the respawns come in. Muma's been saving his Primal Rage for this moment, though, and they're just gonna take it. Are you kidding me? FNRGFE just steamrolls through Temple of Anubis, and that is that.
They only needed that one tick.